高天原に冠つまりますかむろぎかむろみのみこともちてすめみよやかむいざなぎのみことつくしのひむかの立ち花のおどのわはぎはらにみそぎはらいたもときになりませ払いどの神たちもろもろのまがごとつびけがれを払いたまえ清めたまえとまおすことのよしおあまつ神国つかみやおよろずの神たちともに雨のふちこまの耳振りたててきこしめせとかしこみもまおす。弥勒おみかみ守りたまえ先生えたまえ弥勒おみかみ守りたまえ
Good morning. We are starting now the morning service in conjunction with the headquarters of the World Messianic Church of Africa of the 8th of October of 2020. AMATSU-NORITO, Messianic Prayer and Lord's Prayer.
高天原に冠ずまりますかむろぎかむろみのみことしてすめみおやかむいざなぎのみことつくしのいむかの立ち花のおどのあはぎはらにみそぎ払いたもうときになりませる。払いどの神たちもろもろのまがごと積みけがれを洗いたまえ清めたまえとまおすことのよしを天津神国津神やおよろずのみたちともに、雨のふちこまの耳振り立てて、きこしめせと、かしこみもまおす。みろくおみかみ、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ、みろくおみかみ、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ、教えみよや主の神、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ、教えみよや主の神、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ。 Kanagara tamachi haimase. Kanagara tamachi haimase. O Supreme God, creator and giver of all life. O Supreme God, creator and giver of all life. By thy divine will, the long age of night has come to an end. Thou art releasing thy direct light to live the glorious new age for which mankind has long been yearning. We thank thee for guiding us to thy divine light program. We thank thee for the privilege of receiving and channeling thy light. May our spirits and bodies be illumined and cleansed. May we live the precepts thou hast given us through MEISHU-SAMA. Make us pure and mighty channels of thy divine light, blessing those in whom those come in contact. May thy plan for the new era of light be fulfilled, and peace, health, and plenty become a reality. Great God of light, bless us and protect us, and give expansive radiance to our souls. Our Father who art in heaven, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Let us receive JOHREI. and of JOHREI. Teaching of MEISHU-SAMA on love. Generally speaking, there are two kinds of love: the universal, all-inclusive love of God, and the individualized love of man, which is limited. Sojo love, as a rule, is more personalized and, when extreme, may limit itself to love of self, family, friends, one's group or class, and one's country. While good in itself, it's somewhat limited and so may assume selfish ends and turn into a self-centered love. The more intense it is, the more it can become a source of injustice and conflict, and in its own political aspects lead to war. Tajo love is broader and more encompassing, and in this respect, more nearly resembles universal love, which includes all mankind. In its highest and finest sense, it may be trusted more fully than the circumscribed social love. The perfect balance of universal love should prevail and become the common ideal of people everywhere. We hear of strife between religion sects and of wars in the name of religion. Our ideal is a religion that works hand in hand with other religions to create a world of love and peace, not only advocating but exemplifying universal love. Testimony of Faith of Maria Quaresma Viegas de Abreu. São Tomé Príncipe World Messianic Church, Almerim Learning Center. My name is Maria Quaresma Viegas de Abreu. I've been a full member for 12 years. I was guided to the church by Lucilia Neto da Mota, a full member. The reasons that brought me to church were family conflicts and illness. I suffered from typhoid fever for 6 months, which made me visit many hospitals and healers. I spent a large amount of money, but without success. I lived in my father's house, who had passed away, and as his heiress, I occupied part of the house. As a result of a misunderstanding, I was evicted by family members, increasing my suffering. Sick, homeless, and with financial instability, I was in a dead end. Due to my physical condition, I thought about quitting because I was unable to work anymore. That is how I met the church, and 20 days later, after coming in contact with the basic practices of the Messianic faith, my health improved considerably. With this first miracle, I wish to serve, materialize my special donation, and became a full member. I began to commit myself allward with the dedications, and my children also became full members. With our commitment to the faith, even through small purifications, we saw a significant improvement in our daily lives, as the marital and family conflicts ceased. I gained permission to build my own house. I continued with my studies, and now I have a degree in pedagogy, something that I already had ruled out. The testimony of faith that I would like to share with is related to ingratitude, repurification, and religious assistance. It all started when the first cases of COVID-19 were seen in São Tomé and Príncipe, which led to the country to declare a state of emergency, leading us to a social confinement and other prevention measures. During this period, one day I woke up totally pale. Minutes later, my heart started to fail and I felt short in breath. Because of the confinement measures, I was unable to go to church. I thanked God and channeled JOHREI to myself, or received with my children who are also full members. This was a time to practice JOHREI at home. I lived moments of intense purification, and sometimes I had the feeling that I was going to pass away. I contacted the head of the JOHREI Center, who, by the way, was also purifying and unable to visit me to provide religious assistance. I asked him if he could get to the altar to pray, so he accepted the request. Days later, I made an effort to go to church in order to materialize my donation of gratitude for the purification. There was a day when I managed to go to church headquarters in order to participate in the prayer for the elevation of our ancestors and receive JOHREI. With that, the purification aggravated, and for 3 days I couldn't sleep without sleeping pills. I frequently received JOHREI with my children, and considering the unusual state of activities in the church, I went almost every day to church. The purification persisted and did not show any improvements. I felt a tightness in my ribs and a desire to disappear. That is, I was depressed. The moment of panic experienced all over the world due to COVID-19 affected me in such a way that I was scared. Based on reading the teachings of MEISHU-SAMA, I started doing. I found many answers about the purification I was facing, especially on the teachings with the title Rely on God and Attachment. I, who was very dedicated, active, and with a considerable participation in religion activities, at one point I became attached to personal and family affairs, putting them first. As a result of this action, my attendance at church and religious activities decreased, and I started receiving little JOHREI. In short, I felt ingratitude, failing with tithe and the construction donation, doing them incorrectly, and sometimes not doing them at all. However, being vulnerable due to ingratitude, reading the teachings led me to understand that after all, I was not purifying but repurifying. I was receiving warnings. Without realizing, I was losing permission to be useful in the work of God and MEISHU-SAMA. The moment we entered social confinement, I had a misunderstanding at home, which resulted in marital conflict, causing negative feelings that shook me deeply. However, seeing in the teachings of MEISHU-SAMA, I reflected and understood that the heartache derived from these negative feelings that I had contracted due to the conflict. The first step to overcome the situation was to open my heart with the head of JOHREI Center, tell him about my missteps doing donation, the feelings that I had because of the conflict, and ask for guidance. Thanks to God and MEISHU-SAMA, I gained courage and requested an interview. I was warmly attended and opened my heart. During the reflection, he led me to understand that I was forgetting the initial feeling of faith, as I had forgotten where MEISHU-SAMA had found me. In reflection on who I was and who I am today, the achievements attained since I met MEISHU-SAMA up to now, and not actively participating in the divine work would in fact be an enormous ingratitude towards my ancestors. After we finished the interview, he took me to the altar and we prayed for forgiveness to the Supreme God, MEISHU-SAMA, and my ancestors for the ingratitude, and reaffirmed my commitment to return to serve more actively and watch myself in order to practice correctly my donations. In addition, accompanying members of the Net of Salvation in my neighborhood, bringing love, peace, and hope to them. Religious assistance at the time was difficult because of my health condition. My blood pressure and heartbeat were irregular, and I had severe headaches and vertigo. In spite of that, I made an effort in the dedication of religious assistance. Each time I worked on this task, the purification aggravated. Despite this, I did not fail to provide assistance. So I started to go more and more to church, received a lot of JOHREI at headquarters until 3 p.m. I fed on soup made by products taken by the home garden and tried to participate in the dedications at Milagrosa Natural Farming Pole. I gained strength to materialize my donations correctly and to thank for the purification, recognizing that after all, the cause was within me. As potential, I started to serve in cleaning the liturgy, and with these efforts, over 19 days, I noticed changes that I will highlight. The hemoglobin that had been lowered normalized. The functions of my heart were improved considerably. Better and peaceful sleep. I am more willing to channel JOHREI on the JOHREI marches on Wednesday, and not only that, I managed to awaken my children to also dedicate themselves to their dedications in church. Today, I feel more harmony at home and opener for dialogue. Religious assistance. I was allowed to visit a full member that had been mugged days before. The crook had stolen gold earrings, a radio, a piece of African fabric, and the case was under police investigation. I prayed with her, and we delivered these purifications into the hands of the Supreme God and the Messiah MEISHU-SAMA. Weeks later, she discovered the clue, reported to the police, and during the interrogation, it was possible to locate the assailant. At this point, the process runs in terms waiting for the stolen goods to be recovered. I learned that when we face a problem, we must reflect, seek help from the superior, and strive to put the guidance into practice. I also learned that truly, JOHREI is the main base of our church. I currently lead a net of salvation with 9 full members. We are taking care of 10 houses, 3 which are full members, and 2 are internal members, and 5 are external members. My commitment is to strive more and more, not to fall into gratitude again, and to be allowed to serve in the divine work more actively, thus contributing for the change in other people's lives. I thank the Supreme God and Messiah MEISHU-SAMA for awakening me through this repurification that allowed me to make the commitment to do the best I can to be useful to God, making other people happy. Maria Quaresma Viegas de Abreu. Greetings by the Vice President of the World Messianic Church of South Africa, Minister Paulo de Paula Souza.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Thank God and Messiah MEISHU-SAMA. I hope you have enjoyed and liked the beautiful testimony of faith that we just had. In the name of our President, Reverend Claudio Cristiano Leal Pinheiro, I would like to thank you all for the restless efforts that you have done to expand the work, the light and the gospel of the Messiah MEISHU-SAMA, not only throughout South Africa, but to the rest of Africa and the world. We just heard a beautiful testimony of faith that links to the guidance that our President, Reverend Claudio, gave us in his greetings, in his speech, in his guidance, at the monthly service of gratitude. There is a passage in the teachings of MEISHU-SAMA, fragments from the teachings of MEISHU-SAMA, page 18, that he says, purification is governed by the law of affinity, as are all other processes. Wherever clouds or vibrations of a detrimental nature accumulate, an activity to dispel them occurs by natural law. This pertains not only to disorders of the physical body, but includes misfortunes, miseries, accidents, and natural disasters. It is not by chance that these occur. They are caused by the thoughts and deeds of men. When we come to understand this, we begin to see the reason for our misfortunes. The majority of people, unaware of this, believe the cause of misfortunes to be outside themselves. They overlook their own faults and place the blame upon Mother Nature, other people, society, education, or the government. Often people in leading positions hold and advance the same erroneous viewpoint. This is a great fallacy. It causes many people to be filled with resentment, which in turn results in additional clouds or toxins. Many people drive themselves into the proverbial corner. In extreme case, they even commit murder or suicide, incurring further serious spiritual consequences. Ignorance of the true reasons for our misfortune and suffering causes the vicious circle to continue. And this is what happened to our sister. She was receiving JOHREI, she was doing her donations, she was participating in the dedications of the natural farming. But then due to COVID, due to other things that she thought it was outside of her, she stopped doing the dedication, she stopped doing her donations, she stopped receiving JOHREI like she used to. And then she incurred in something that we call repurification. It means that to purify again. She had that purification years ago, she was recovered through the dedications and JOHREI, but then she went back to the same state she was when she met our church. But as soon as she went back to the practices, or the basic practices that are taught by the Messiah MEISHU-SAMA, she started to improve again. Not only that, she was able to teach other people to do the same, and they were able to come out through their sufferings that they were in. So, as those people were coming out of their miseries, that gratitude towards God also became light to her. And she started to overcome even more the problems that she had in her life. I know that this time or this age that we are now, this period of pandemic, many people were in panic, even having panic attacks. And it's horrible to have a panic attack. But the reality that unfolds in front of us today may lead us to think that this is the only way. But if you practice the teachings of MEISHU-SAMA, if you read them every single day, morning and evening, if you practice JOHREI, natural farm, you eat naturally, and you start to change your mental attitude, doing your donations, participating in the activities that create paradise on earth, like our President guided us. Let's start by cleaning our hearts and cleaning our houses. I know that all our houses are very beautiful, are very clean, but there's always something to do. There's always something that you can clean better, that you can organize better. If not, do it anyway. Start cleaning your house, start making things lighter, bring more light into your home, and see the change. But not only that, like our sister did, look for your head of JOHREI Center or your minister and open up your hearts. Open up that sufferings that are heavy inside your soul, inside your heart. Deliver them to God and Messiah MEISHU-SAMA. Start afresh, start anew, a new life. Let's start from scratch, from the origin of our feelings, of our sentiments. Let's get rid, let's remove from within our heart resentment, injustice, judgment, fears. Let's start to live a new life by the grace of God and the Messiah MEISHU-SAMA. This is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope you have a beautiful day filled with the light of the Supreme God and the Messiah MEISHU-SAMA. Thank you very much, and may God and Messiah MEISHU-SAMA bless us all. Thank you.
We hereby end the morning service in conjunction with the headquarters of the World Messianic Church of Africa of the 8th of October of 2020.